Yeah, this is probably a pointless ramble video, kind of another premature video, but there's a lot of stuff been running through my mind regarding human psychology, our general insatiability, how we define beauty, what we get caught up in as individuals, and how that's just so diverse. And the whole idea of, deliberate purpose and intention behind the universe, and well, anyway, all this stuff has just been rolling around, so I'll try to make something out of it, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. So I guess I'll start with a spider. Okay, so there's a spider in my last video, and it's got this little egg cluster, and it's protecting, I think that's what it's trying to do anyway. And you realize it doesn't even know those are eggs. It doesn't have any conception of what it's been designed to do. Just like the praying mantises, mating, they don't realize, this will lead to laying eggs and then I drop dead. I mean, they really have no concept of what's in store for them. They're just doing what they've been motivated to do by their psychology, by their programming. And so then you look at humans, and just people get caught up in all these different things. I mean, there's such different definitions of pleasurable, different definitions of beauty, of what's important, and all those different definitions have only one thing in common. They have absolutely nothing in common except for one thing, and that is they all motivate people, and they all keep them in the game. And people seem to find a way to get over or around obstacles all the time. Something happens to destroy something they were highly invested in, and they'll find something new to be invested in. And the converse is they will accomplish everything they want to accomplish, and then they'll have to find something new to accomplish. And it's not even that they have to, it's that it'll automatically show up. I mean, even when success, the day after success is, okay, well, now what? There's got to be a new challenge, a new thing to conquer, a new definition of what needs to be done, or what you need to do. And we all come up with that. I mean, we're never really satisfied. I mean, you could be president of the world for 4 years, and the 5th year you're going to say, yeah, I want more. I mean, or there's more that needs to be done. I didn't have enough time to get done all the things that need to get done. So there'll always be more, and you'll be dissatisfied about your lack of accomplishment, even though you've accomplished a whole bunch, maybe. And it's sort of like that in life. I mean, you get to a place that you wanted to get to, and it's still not good enough. Because you'll say, well, since I'm here, I might as well go that 10% more, or I might as well. And it's just in the nature of psychology, and that's what just keeps propelling us, is this, finding some new little passion. And so I was just thinking back through my life, and these different little things that got you motivated, and they were so silly. And you're thinking, I'm thinking just even when I was a kid, and I'd be all excited about getting up the next day so I could go outside and, collect more sticks and build a big giant bird nest, a fort, whatever you want to call it. And that was like some kind of grand accomplishment one summer, was just, see how big a bird's nest you could make, And the whole thing turned out to be kind of a failure anyway, because, we built it with these 5-foot walls and a roof and the whole thing. And then it ended up just being too wet and crappy inside to even stay inside of it. And but there was great enthusiasm in the process, just having the mission, having the project. And it's funny how we get connected to these goals. And then the other part of it for me was this definition of beauty, because nature's so rude to beauty. Obviously, for our individual, we have so many different definitions of it that it would obviously, there's no standard by which you could really judge, because no definition of beauty is the right definition of beauty. So some of us are automatically going to be disappointed because we all have different definitions of what that is. But it just seems such an obvious flaw in the idea of, there being any God or being any control structure, because obviously it's just obvious. You wouldn't be rude to beauty. You wouldn't harm the beautiful. But then that whole notion of that we should even make that judgment. I mean, it's just so funny that we're capable of that, where we're going to care more if something, when something perfect is flawed, it's somehow more noticeable to us than if something imperfect acquires another imperfection. It's not such a big deal. So, because it's already sort of broken, so a little more broken doesn't matter as much. It's kind of the psychology, I suppose. But just in the whole thing that we have all these diverse definitions, and we have to communicate with all these different psychologies. So, I mean, if I'm thinking I have something worth communicating, and that as a system it might work for human beings, the problem is the obstacle is you have to work through all these different psychologies with all these different values, with all these different perceptions of what matters in the world, what's important, what feels good, what is worth accomplishing. And they're all so psychologically based. We're all a bunch of spiders with a cluster that we don't even know what it is. We just know that we are cherishing the cluster. We cherish what we are connected to and what we have been disposed to find beautiful or important. But that definition is really made out of shit. I mean, we're just operating so much like that spider, in that it just happens to be that that's what we care about. We don't know why we care. We can't rationalize the concern. We can't rationalize the attachment. But it exists, and it's powerful. And it's trying to talk past that and get everybody to see past their own bullshit. That, just, I don't know. It's a very difficult task, because people aren't going to let go of their egg cluster, and they're just going to keep doing what they're compelled to do, because they won't be critical of the compulsion, because the compulsion is almost the greatest part of their passion. Is just the fact that it exists, and without it, what do they have? What does somebody have without their passions, without their something, to desire, something to want, something to feel they need to do, even if it's just, I need to get the 456 Barbie outfit. I mean, people do that in their life. I mean, their grand aspiration in life is to have a complete collection of Barbie wardrobe or something. I mean, it's just, the stuff we get caught up in, it's just such bullshit. And it's how do you talk past all of that? How do you, and you can't, but you can't really talk through it. I mean, you can't really embrace it all and try to seduce everybody in and saying, well, no, there's no real cynicism about what you think and what you believe and what you cherish. No, we all love it. We love it all, because the end game is going to say that, yes, there is cynicism. Yes, you're just a psychology, and we can make a psychology into anything. I mean, people have these kids all the time, and they don't seem to take any responsibility that they're creating a psychology, and that they can mold that psychology into something. And so they just kind of hands off a lot, because they don't want to take responsibility for that, because it is a responsibility. I mean, what do you what is the ideal psychology, the ideal human psychology? Or even if it's not the ideal, what's better, what's less effective, what's less useful in terms of a psychology? I mean, we certainly nailed down a few of them. I mean, violence, or, whatever, a desire to eat people, cannibalism, some of this idea, these are all those would be obviously negative psychologies, and you would try to do your best to avoid those, but there's really got to be something more than just letting nature happen or just letting the environment create the psychology. We should be deliberately trying to say, okay, well, this is a good human psychology, a balanced psychology. But then we get into the whole argument, is life about feeling good or is life about being productive? And so you'd want a human psychology that was motivated to be competent and skillful at solving problems and doing good things in the world. I mean, that would make sense. If somebody's going to be obsessed about something, better they be obsessed about solving human problems than collecting Barbie wardrobes. So anyway, enough said. Overtime.